Hi, thank you for joining today's celestial insight. So I'm doing something different. Usually I pull the cards during the video, but today I've done a monthly insight, a weekly insight, and it's just been going on because it's been picking up on a time frame going from like a week to a month. So I said, let me pick the cards first, then I will pick more during the video just to kind of confirm the cards that I picked before the video, just to kind of speed this along, and I won't be kind of transitioning to other topics, okay, which I will cover in another video, okay? The weekly insight, okay, as well as the monthly will cover other topics, okay? Now, today's insight, this is more so preparing yourself for the full moon, okay, in the sign. The moon will be in the sign of Taurus, okay? In the sign of Taurus, a full moon is also going to be a lunar eclipse on the 28th of October. So preparing yourself. This is doing rituals. This is working with affirmations, prayer, fasting, whatever technique that you use in order to be able to manifest or to achieve a desired result, okay? So because I'm talking about astrology here, I'm more so focusing on like manifestation, the law of attraction, working with the moon cycles as well as planetary influences based off of the current planetary placements. So on this date, the moon will be in the sign of Taurus, okay? Also, the moon will have just came out of the sign of Aries, okay? Aries is a very aggressive, this is a very, it's considered to be the planet of war, okay? Mars rules Aries, but also right now, Chiron, the asteroid, the wounded healer, is in the sign of Aries, ruled by Mars, okay? Also, Neptune is in the sign of Pisces, okay? Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn, okay? Now, Pluto rules Scorpio. During this time of the full moon phase on the 28th, the sun will be in the sign of Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, okay? Pluto deals with exposing, Pluto or Scorpio energy. Pluto as well, death, rebirth, transformation. This deals with taboos. This deals with exposing. So let me say this, what I'm picking up on here. Today, this month being domestic violence abuse month, but agencies that typically deal with domestic violence also deal with rape victims, victims of sexual assault. So let me say this. I'm going to make this short because I did several of these videos today and they turned into dealing with domestic violence abuse month. So I'm going to focus on that, and then I'm going to confirm with some cards. If you have been a victim of sexual assault, if you are currently dealing with that, if you're currently dealing with abuse and you've been to different agencies, if you Capricorn, which Pluto is in the sign of now, deals with tradition, it deals with structures, you may feel like your voice have not been heard. Don't give up. Don't feel like you have to succumb to abuse. Don't feel like you have to deal with tactics. Neptune deals with this is the unseen world. This is when gaslighting. This can deal with you put those energies together. It would deal with something where it may not be easy to expose something that you've been dealing with, because what goes along with that is going on hidden. You know, Pluto energy, secrecy. But Pluto exposes secrecy. Neptune is the hidden. It is that thing, that ethereal, that kind of unknown world. Things could be hidden, okay? You can be gaslit. You're not being abused. This didn't happen. It could be turned around on you. You become the actual perpetrator versus the victim. All those type of things that go on in that particular, dealing with taboos and abuse, different forms of abuse, where it's emotional, physical, sexual. And sometimes it will cause someone to give up. It will cause someone to feel like there's no help out there. Know that there is help. There is help for you. There's different agencies that help people that deal with that. It doesn't matter what that abuser is telling you, because that is what abuser, Pluto deals with exposing and secrecy. Abuser wants you to stay silent. An abuser will use every type of technique in order for you to keep your mouth shut, to keep you quiet, because your voice is your weapon. your voice, but be careful, because with this Neptune energy, this speaks into the gaslighting. This goes to you cry out for help, and then you become the problem. You become the person that has done that. Be careful though. Work with tools that you won't have to say anything. Most likely a person that has abused one person, they have abused someone else before you, and they will abuse somebody after you. You don't have to say anything. If you're in a position where your word is not going to be heard, wait till it's a collective voice. Wait till it is a collective voice, to where your one voice might be a murmur. But if there's 2 voices, 3 voices, 4 voices, 5 voices, that becomes a yell. Wait for it. You don't have to deal with that, but you also don't have to put yourself in a position where you put yourself in harm's way, or you have to put yourself in a position where you feel lower because you go for help and then you don't get heard. So you feel like you have to succumb to abuse, or you put yourself in more danger because you went to go tell, nobody believes you, the person gets out, they come back to you, then you have to deal with this cycle of abuse. Wait before your yell. You'll know it. Your yell will become a voice. It will be an amplified voice, and it doesn't matter how much gaslighting that person or manipulation that person tries to do. It will not dole out that voice and that yell that will come through the cosmos, okay? And the reason why I say that, because Pluto right now, and I'm talking about astrologically, is in the sign of Capricorn. This deals with rebellion. This deals with disrupting structures. That's why now planetary, I know there's religious reasons for it, Israel and what's going on in Israel right now, but astrologers have been predicting this. Rebellions, wars, astrologers have been predicting that based off of the placement of Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, shaking things up. When there's little voices here, there, that they're whispers, because you have one over there, one over here, and they're not being heard. Then what happens then is the divine, because the divine is the one that God is the one that controls the cosmos. The divine, those things become instruments. The planets are only instruments in the hands of the divine. The divine will allow things to line up to where all those little voices that were not being heard, the divine, it won't be necessary, because the divine said, that's not my only tool. That's not my only instrument. I'll rock the core. I will rock the core up out of your society if you don't get this stuff in check. And here it'll rock it. That's examples of like coronavirus, where there was no human conflict. There wasn't no human conflict. That is things, bugs and all these types of things. I was driving the other day, and my son kept looking at it. He was like, Mom, look at this bug on the window. It was outside of the window, and I was surprised because I was like, I can't look at it now, I'm driving. So I stopped. I was like, is it still there? I'm surprised it's still there. I'm surprised the wind didn't blow it off the window. This tiny, I don't even know what this type of the bug, me and my son going back and forth trying to figure out what this type of bug was. I don't know what this type of bug was, but the point being, there are things out in the world that have not even been named yet. There are some things that are so tiny, but let that thing bite you, and it will create so much chaos, just like COVID. We have to be careful that the time period that we are in, that the divine does not start using, he doesn't have to use a human voice. He does not have to use, and when I say he, I am personalizing God. The divine does not have to use a human voice to correct it. There's balance that's necessary in an equilibrium in life, in the cosmos, in the universe, in the galaxies. It will be chaos. Things will combust if there was not balance. Balance is necessary. And when things become unbalanced, divine is not sitting back there twiddling his thumbs. He will allow something to come in to disrupt the disruptive force, period. And that's what we're dealing with now. Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. Okay, so what we're seeing over in Israel, that's not it. Because what's happening is there's voices, there's things that have already been speaking. Even if it's just warnings. People don't listen to warnings. There will be people that will be speaking against things that are warning things to come, and people won't even listen until the thing is upon us, and then we start acting surprised. Even when COVID came, there was things in place already in our government system that have been torn apart because it was considered not to be necessary. But then something came that made it necessary. We were not prepared because it got dismantled. People, we are always prepared for disaster. People are always putting their voices out there, warning of things that are to come. And then there will be some that have power and authority that will kind of poo-poo on that. Oh, that's craziness. That's where all that gaslighting and the manipulation part of that comes in at, in that as well. So this is Domestic Violence Abuse Month. I didn't want this to be long. It's already turned longer than I wanted to. This is a daily insight, and I'm going to pull some cards just to confirm. Pluto's in the side of Capricorn. Things are going to get shook up. It doesn't matter. No, don't ever give up on fighting for yourself. Whether that's freedom, whether that is free from abuse, free from a mental prison cell, a physical prison cell, whatever it is, okay? Free from shame of abuse that been perpetrated on you. Free from shame that maybe you've done something and now there's shame that is on you because of things you've done. Don't succumb to that. Fight it. Fight it. Fight it. Even if it's fighting doesn't have to be combat, Mars energy, hand-to-hand combat. Fighting could be you fight in prayer. You can fight with spiritual tools. You can fight with astrological tools. One of those is the placement of the moon. The moon, full moon in the sign where the sun is in the sign of Scorpio, where the moon is in the sign of Taurus. Taurus deals with our self-worth. Take your self-worth back. Purge everything out of your mind, your spirit, your soul that has got your self-worth all wrecked. All wrecked. Self-worth, this is your self-esteem. This is what you feel about yourself. Nobody can make you feel terrible about yourself. They can make other people. That's first house. That's Aries energy. Okay. The moon, a full moon's not in the sign of Aries. It's coming out of the sign of Aries, but it will be in the sign of Taurus. Aries energy, Aries territory, first house territory. That's what you want other people to think about you. People can tamper with that. Oh, she not really that. He not really that. He fake, she fake. They this, they really this. They can tamper all day and all night with that. What people cannot tamper with is what you feel about yourself. Purge everything, even if it's a relationship. Purge everything. Purge your mind, purge your spirit, purge your soul of everything that has you feeling bad about yourself. It's okay when other people feel bad about you. That's okay. That hurts, but it's okay. You can get by. It can be traumatic. It could be issues with that. But what's more damaging than anything is how you feel about yourself. How you feel about yourself, your self-worth. Use the day of the 28th when the moon will be in the sign of Taurus, a full moon and a lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse, the sun will be in the sign of Scorpio. Purge yourself. Purge yourself of the traumatic experiences. Purge yourself. And if you are adept and you work in astrological magic and so forth and so on, use that day to expose anyone that has abused you or abused someone that you know. Okay? That's purging and exposing energy. Expose it. You won't have to say a word. You won't have to say a word. And that situation will be handled. You won't have to put your word on. You're not going to have to only spend the dollars that you use to get those tools that you need on the 28th. That's all the money you're going to need. You're not going to need no money for no attorney. And if you do, it's going to be minimal compared to what you would need if you didn't work with the cycles of the planets and the time frame, because the planets is not just working with the energy of the planet. We're talking about historical times that we're in and that type of thing. Work that to your benefit so that your whisper will become a yell and a holler, and it will reverberate off of the cosmos, and it will shut the mouth of everything that has come against you and that has traumatized you. And mark my word, it will happen for you. It will happen for you. It will happen for you because it's the time that we're in. This ain't magic. They say you don't even have to use tools, but if you do amplify it, you don't have to use it. It's the time that we're in. It's just like slavery. I pity the fool that was trying to keep slaves when the Union Army came to the South and tried to invaded it and said that's over. That time is over. People could have waved their Confederate flags, and they still do to this day. It didn't matter. try to hold you bad slavery. Of course, we still have human trafficking and so forth. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where every African American in this country, unless you had your free papers and so forth, so on, you were a slave. I pity the fool that try to go against the hands of time. And that is what we're dealing with right now. I'm not talking about astrological magic, but if you know how to use it, use it. Use it to get yourself free out of situations. Okay? Use it. Use the tools that you need to free yourself. Okay? So let's see what we get. Yes, Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. Chiron, the wounded healer, okay, is in the sign, this is an asteroid, of Aries, okay? Mars is a warring energy. Aries is new beginning. Again, Aries is that energy. This is new beginnings. New beginnings. Even though the full moon usually is not used for new beginnings, it's a new beginning for you after you purge all that stuff out of your mind and your spirit and your heart. Okay, 7th house of the zodiac is ruled by Libra. Okay, and I said this was going to be a daily insight. It is, because I'll still do the weekly. But the moon is going to be in the sign of Libra on the 14th. These placements are critical to being able to establish a healthy sense of yourself. Breaking free of chains, breaking free of mental chains. Sometimes we're just chained in our mind, but sometimes we are chained physically, okay? We are bound by circumstances and we are bound by people, and you need help sometimes to get yourself out of that. Sometimes there is no human help. Let's just be honest. Sometimes there is no human help and you'll give up because you feel like there's no help available. That's because you're working off of humans that have to work through certain systems, so forth. When you get tired of that, and you get tired of people labeling what's evil, what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do, and keeping you in a box, when you get tired of that, then understand that you don't have to get help just from human. Work with angels, work with Orisha, work with Loa, work with astrological energy for timing. How do you think slaves before the Union Army, the Union Army came to the South got free? When they say, I'm not gonna live like this, I'm not gonna be a slave. They follow the North Star. Follow the North Star to freedom. To freedom. I say this. Follow the North Node to freedom. Heal yourself. Heal yourself. Heal yourself and free yourself from fanatic. What is the word? Fanaticism? Is that the word? These are these religious beliefs that keep you bound up. There's so much harm that goes under the guise of Christianity. It would make a person vomit out. There's so much abuse that goes on under the guise of religion. It is ridiculous. Don't allow that stuff to keep you bound. Do not do it. By guilt, by false sense of obligation to systems that are keeping you bound up, hemmed up, and not only is it making other people look at you bad, it's making other people look at you bad. You looking at your own self bad. You looking at your own self bad, and you can't even achieve the destiny that God has for you because of some unnamed system, okay, that penalizes people from wanting to get out the box or whatever the case may be, or women that want to speak their voice, or people transgender that want to do, or people that want to date people outside of, so you have to deal with all this type of backlash, and you're allowing it to at the end of the day, you're allowing it to mess with how you feel about yourself as a human being. You came through a human being. A human being did not create you. God, the creator, created you. It is God's prerogative. God will help you get to your destiny. I pity the fool that try to keep somebody that's on the walk of their destiny, and they're walking on it, and they try to hinder it. That's why they couldn't kill Jesus. They didn't kill Jesus because they finally got him. We finally caught him. And we finally caught Jesus, and we found him in a vulnerable position. And that's not why they killed Jesus. That was meant for Jesus. Jesus he surrendered to it. They were trying to kill Jesus before they sacrificed him. They were trying to, but they could not, because that was not his destiny. He had not walked out what his destiny was first. Walk your destiny. Stop letting people play with your destiny. Libra energy. The sun is in the sign of Libra. The moon will be in the sign of Libra, which Libra rules the 7th house. This deals with relationships, love partnerships, on the 14th. So between the 14th of October to the 28th of this of October, do your work. Do your work so that you can. There are several things you can establish within this period. One, if you want a love partnership, you've been in a bad relationship, you've been alone, you may not be in a bad relationship, you just want a new one. Okay, this would be a great time to be able to benefit from that because of Chiron energy. Chiron, that I'm picking up with this Aries card, because Chiron is in the sign of Aries, and because I'm picking up on a new beginning, this is more so for those that have dealt with traumatic experiences, either in childhood, you've been abused, you've been raped before, you've dealt with domestic violence, you've been in an abusive relationship, you're trying to leave an abusive relationship, okay, and you're trying to establish, a framework and a foundation of where to spring forth from, okay? You want to spring forth from a healthy a sense of self-worth. You might have to fake a little bit. If you're still in an abusive relationship, the worst thing that abuser wants to see is you with the high self-esteem. So when I say you have to fake a little bit, you may have to act. Those that read Bible, and sometimes I mix this in because I just kind of know the stories, and the Bible is one of the most read books in the world, so a lot of people know it. The King David, when he was running from an abuser, Saul was an abuser. He became abusive towards David. He was trying to kill him. When David was trying to flee from him, David had to feign like he was crazy. Meaning he had to act like he was crazy when he was in some communities because he was a warrior. And if people would have known, if they felt like he was in his right mind, in his sane mind, they were afraid of what he would do to them because he was a warrior. So he had to act like he was crazy. Act like you crazy. An abuser never wants you. If you're dangerous to an abuser with self-worth. If you're in an abusive relationship and that abuser, that narcissist sees that your self-esteem and your self-worth is building, and it's an issue. It's an issue for that person. Now, if you're ready, like I saw and of course this was just a movie, but it's based off of real life circumstances. This woman started getting martial arts. She started taking martial arts, and her self-esteem started increasing. And so, as her self-esteem and her protecting herself started increasing, she started defending herself. She didn't wait till she left. She started defending herself within the context of while she was still there. He would try that stuff with her, abusing her. She tore his butt up. She beat his butt up. And the tables had turned at that point. So, unless you're in a situation like that where a person is just, a person's a bully, the person's a coward, and they're only picking on you and fighting you because they know that they feel like you're weaker, and your self-esteem starts increasing, and you can physically defend yourself. Then hey, but you also have to be careful of that as well, because things can easily escalate. That's why there's a lot of women right now behind bars because they've ended up killing their abuser. Okay, and the system a lot of times is not fair with women like that. They don't look at it like, oh, it's self-defense or this. So you have to be careful with that, because fighting someone could easily it could escalate. So without using that option, the option would be when your self-worth, which it will, if you start using certain tools and self-affirmations, affirming yourself, looking in the mirror, telling yourself you're beautiful, telling yourself you're lovely, regardless of what that abuser, that narcissist is telling you, your self-worth is going to increase. Okay, and it's going to be noticeable, and certain things that you dealt with before, you're not going to want to deal with it anymore. But in order for you to stay safe, you may have to do like David. You may have to act a certain way. You may have to act, well, yes, you have to dumb yourself down. You may have to do that. Sometimes you have to use survival techniques in order to get yourself through. Because not only are there there are women behind bars from killing their abuser, there are also women that have been killed by their abuser. And you don't want to be a statistic. So sometimes you have to put ego aside. You have to put things aside and act like you don't got no self-worth. Act like he wants you to be, because that's what he wants you to be. He doesn't want you to have, or she, mostly is, people that perpetrate domestic violence are men. Okay, they're the perpetrators. So that's why I use that. But that person doesn't want you to have any self-esteem. They don't want you to have any. Okay, so you may have to satiate their off-balance ego by acting like you don't have any. Act like you don't have any. When they do the things that they only get from you because your self-esteem has been ripped to shreds, you may have to do it. Okay, and make an exit plan and be safe. Reach out to certain organizations, even if it's not to be in contact with a specific person. You may not have to talk to someone, because people that are abusers, narcissists, a lot of times they're tracking your stuff. They're watching things that you do. They're watching you. They have devices everywhere, so they know what you're doing. They know what you're watching. So you may not be able to talk. If they don't know what you're watching, they may know what you're on your phone, who you're calling. So you may have to create an exit plan. You know, you may not be able to talk to anybody. You may have to put, be secretive in your escape plan, but be safe. Tell somebody that you trust and that you love that this is what you're planning on doing, because then this person can start putting resources together for you. You can have a bag packed away that when you leave, you always, especially if you have kids, always have a change of clothes and things like that. Diapers if you have a baby. For some reason, it's strange that this is the case, but a lot of times when people are abusers, the abuse escalates when the woman is pregnant, which is, to me, I found that to be a little bit crazy, doing the research on it. But that happens, so if you have a baby, okay, make sure that you have extra change of clothes, several extra change of clothes for your baby, important documents, things like that. Leave that in a safe place. Leave that with someone you can trust, a friend, a family member, okay? Let them know what you're planning on doing. Have dates and stuff in place, but don't let that person know. And don't do those things over the phone and things like that. You want to be safe, you want to be strategic, you want to be smart. And sometimes being smart is you don't want to because your self-worth is going to start increasing as you start making these plans, as you start working on yourself. But don't let that person and test it in a small, well, don't test it, because y'all, when you're dealing with abusing and narcissists, you don't want to be testing stuff. But understand, once you're out of the situation in a safe place, test it and see that that's not the case. A narcissist and abuser hates to see a woman or a man, if the victim is a man, with self-esteem. That's the first thing that they're going to start tacking away at. And so that's how a lot of times you can keep yourself out of being involved in an abusive relationship. Look at the signs. That's the first place they go. The first place they go is your self-worth and your self-esteem. Because once they have taken that out of you, they replace your self-worth with them. Especially a narcissist. They don't want you to be filled up with anything. That's why I call domestic violence. Although the church condones it, they usually keep women in it. It's demonic to me. It's demonic, and it's evil. It is outside. I call it idol worship, because a narcissist and abuse wants it to be all about them. They want it. They don't want you to God. They don't want nobody. Children. They don't want no one taking precedent over them. Even if it's God. They may act like it, because there's a lot of abusers in church. Oh, church and God and this. There's abusers in church. Plethora of them. And they may act like they want you to. That's just for the image of it. Or some of them may actually believe in God. But let you try to, and let's say you have even a regular prayer routine. This is not something out the blue, like you created this during dinner time where you're supposed to have their dinner ready or something you're supposed to do for them. You haven't changed the schedule. Keep the schedule the same, but let something change in their schedule. Well, you have, let's say, a prayer time set up for a certain time that you're praying to Jesus. You've been praying for them during this time. Let them need something for you and want your attention to be on them during this time that you've dedicated to God. And then you're going to see what I'm talking about. They don't want God, and they don't want you. They don't want anything above them, not even God. Try it when it's safe and see if you don't see what I'm saying. Having a prayer time when you're safe. They know I pray at 6, the kids, you can talk to them at any other time. But I pray at 6 o'clock, so just make sure you don't call at 6 o'clock. Let something go in their schedule off or whatever the case may be. And they need to talk at that, or they may even purposely do it. They're going to call you exactly at 6 o'clock. They don't want God. Even if they know you're you're a religious woman, you're a religious man, you are not faking, you're for real, they know that. They will want that, when I'm saying that narcissistic, abusive person will want that time that you've devoted to God. They will want that for themselves. They don't want nothing. That's why I say it's demonic. So don't allow people to make it seem like you're doing some holy act to God because you're staying in an abusive relationship. You are not. That person in that situation is ruled by demons, is demonic. It's idol worship, because especially when a person is narcissistic, it's idol worship. They want you to put them even before God. Even before God. They don't want nothing in place of them. Nothing. They want all of they want yourself. They want your soul. And I'm going to end it with that. They want your soul. They want your soul. So they may even call, we're soulmates. We're twin flames. And they're going to use twin flame. Now with this kind of, getting more attention, twin flame, which I do believe in. So I'm not poo-pooing. I believe in twin flames. But that would be an abuser's, a blessing to an abuser if you labeled your relationship a twin flame. Because it is said that you can't even disconnect yourself from this person without causing yourself spiritual and emotional turmoil. That wording your relationship a twin flame is giving a pass to an abuser. It's giving them a pass. Because they can sit and treat you all kind of crazy way, and they'll, well, yeah, this twin flame is, it's toxic, and that's just me because it's me kind, and there's all these type of excuses. Okay, they want your soul. They want your soul. You think they want you? They want your soul, and they can take it if you allow them to. Let this person get you so upset or get you all that you got to defend yourself that you done took this person off the face of this earth. And now you all got all kind of spiritual issues because of that. Let this person get you in a position that they get out of control and they kill you before you do. And those that believe in heaven and hell, what are you teaching people about that? When they're not even in the right place with God, stay in it because this is God. And now let's get deep. And I know it's still the daily insight, so let me say that. Let's get deep with it. Because a lot of people that are religious, they keep people in abusive relationships. They keep them in abusive relations. Let me say, not say a lot. Some do this. It's known to keep people, especially some cultures, in abusive relationship because it's some spiritual act onto God, or you're going to be doing something offense against God. What happened? Let's just be real. Those that believe in heaven and hell, let's be real. When those things that a person is supposed to do to go to heaven, they have not done, and they're in an abusive relationship, and that person wipes them off the face of this earth, and they haven't had a chance to so-called make amends or ask for forgiveness, where that person going? Where are they going? Based off of religious beliefs about heaven and hell. They're the victim, but that abuser just sent that person's soul to hell because they have not finished their work, because they're so busy caught up in this abusive, toxic relationship. They're not working on the relationship with God at all. They're not working on the relationship with their self. They all torn apart spiritually, mentally, and everything else. And then this person that took them off of the face, then blasted them, or whatchamacall them, or whatever weapon they use. They then took their soul out of the earth plane. And this person has not done their spiritual work. Where is the person's soul going to? Where is their soul going to? Let's be real. Let's not talk about fantasy land. Let's not talk about this patty cake type stuff where they're a victim. They were killed. They didn't do anything wrong. The perpetrator's going to go. Let's be real. Let's be real and talk about spirituality in the real context in some of these traditions. Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, Islam, where you have to do, especially like things, systems like Islam, where you're doing works, but the person can't because they so caught up with this person, this relationship, this narcissist won't let them. So they all caught up in this person. Well, that spiritual works their self. When you're working on to your husband, you working on to... No. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about some concrete stuff that in some traditions a person is supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be going to church on certain days. There's obligations. There's holy days. There's all these types of things. And this person is not doing those things because they can't. And this person, this abuser, has taken them out of the earth plane. And this person's spiritual thing is not intact. Where is the person going? I'm not talking about the abuser. I'm talking about the victim. Well, let me say it. Based off of that belief system, that victim, that abuser has abused that person while they're living, and they have done the ultimate, that they have sent that person's soul to hell. Based off of that belief system. based off of that belief system. Now, how terrible is that? How terrible is that? And we sit back and we allow this stuff under the pretense of Christianity and false ideologies to keep people caught up in circumstances that are unhealthy and they're abusive, they're soul shattering, and this person is literally taking this person's soul. We need to stop it. This month is Domestic Violence Abuse Month. Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, disrupting these systems that don't work. They're unhealthy. They're actually even fake. Let me just say that. They're not even real. They're not real. There are things that are set up to keep people blind and to keep people in bondage. They have no healing. Healing has left the building a long time ago. Healing has left some of these systems a long time ago. That's why there are people leaving these institutions that we used to flock to in certain communities in droves. Not because, the devil running rapid. And what Christian denomination does the devil have more power than God? So that got to go. It's the devil. The devil So the devil has more power than you? The devil has more power than a praying pastor, pastor's wife, parishioners, all these folks that can sit there and pray the devil right back into the depths of hell. But he not going there. But instead of him leaving the church, the people are leaving? No. No. That is not what's going on. Okay? People are leaving because the healing is not there, and actually some of them and a lot of them are being abused. And if they're not being abused by what is going on in these places, they're being abused at home and they're crying for help, and who they're crying to is actually turning a blind eye to it. They're not acknowledging it, or they're making excuses for the abuser. But the sad thing about it is the systems are not even set up for people to be able to help people that are in some of these types of systems. They want to help and they can't. They have their hands tied because of the structure is not set up in a way to bring healing. It's not set up that way. Okay, that's why after Nicole, who was it? The O.J. Simpson, Nicole, was it his wife named Nicole? That's why laws changed after that. Before, if a woman called the police and reported the man, he abused me, he did all this, he did all that, he was screaming, she had abusers all over her, all kind of stuff. And they arrested him, but she changed her mind, they had to let him go. But after she got killed, they changed the law. And even if she changed her mind, I don't know if this is all states, I know this is in California where this happened at, even if she changed her mind, and if they found evidence, they would keep his butt locked up. But this is what I'm talking about when people in the systems want to help, but they can't because the system is not set up. They know that the man sitting up there, she knows what she's going to be facing. She knows that if she don't, or she may even change her mind because her mind's so warped out of place or whatever for being in this situation so long. He loves me. He's sorry. She take him and she doesn't want to press charges for whatever myriad of reasons. And the people that's in the system, they can't help her. So this is what I'm saying. Sometimes people's hands are tied because this system is not set up until the system itself is changed. Then certain things will continue to happen. Because the system itself is not set up for healing. It's not set up to be able to really deal with certain situations. And that's why we're going to start seeing a lot of disruptiveness. Because when a person is sitting there screaming for help and they're being abused, they're asking for help and they don't get it, then sometimes they will resort to taking things into their own hand. That's why we have rebellions. That's why when you have societies where there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of issue, there's a lot of oppression, usually people will rise up. They will rise up. If it's not the structure and the system itself is not changed to address what the people are crying about and complaining about, If it's not changed, because that prevents the rebellion. But if it's not changed, then the people will rise up. They will rise up because they can't handle what's being placed on them. And even the fear of what they would deal with from rising up, they at that point they have dealt with so much. The oppression would have been so atrocious that they don't even care anymore. They don't care. They don't care. They would rather meet death. They would rather meet with ostracism. They would rather meet whatever that is that they would meet by rebellion than continuing to stay in it. And that is the time that we are in now. So when I made the point, you don't even have to raise a voice. If you have to sit there trying to get help and you're a victim and you're trying to get help, we are in a time right now. When I say I pity the fool that try to go against it, we are in a time right now that's already underway. It's already underway. It's the disruption of systems because the system is not changing. It is not changing on its own. So that, people will be that believe in God is controlling the planets. He's controlling astrology. He's controlling to be able to allow these influences to be disruptive. That's when those things are being used as a tool from God. God does not have to use human hands. He doesn't have to use angels either. When God allows things to become disruptive, they're tools in his hand. And that is the season that we're in now, where these systems are going to get disruptive. They're going to get disruptive. They will either get disruptive because people are going to start being rebellious and they're going to start acting out. Okay, groups, not people, the individuals. This is groups. Okay, massive uprisings. Okay, or the system and the structures themselves will start to shift and start to change. So some of these things will become obsolete. Okay, that we've set up. 12th house of the zodiac. So the 12th house of the zodiac is ruled by Neptune, rules Pisces. This is considered to be one of the most difficult areas of astrology to deal with. It deals with incarceration. It deals with mental health issues, being confined in mental institutions. It also deals with the unseen world. These are those things that you can't. This is when you try to go to somebody and try to tell them that you're being abused, but the abuser is smart because he's cared about his image, so he won't put any marks on you. He won't put physical evidence of his abuse, but your mind will be a mess. Your emotions will be a mess because this is the gaslighting. This is this unseen world, okay? This area here, okay? The gaslighting, all those types of things that will wreak havoc on your spirit and your soul eventually. So that's why it's not just about getting yourself to a safe place so that you can be in just away from the person, hit it physically and all those things. You want to work on your destiny, first of all. If you're in an abusive narcissistic relationship, I doubt it. I doubt very highly if you're going to be on the path of your destiny, and if you are, on the same way that you could if you're not connecting in a relationship with a narcissist. It's draining. It's the person wants all of your focus on them. I doubt it very highly if you will be walking on your destiny, or again on walking on your path of what you have been put on this earth plane to do. Because that's why I say with these marital structures, see, this is why I get a little weird when we get told things like, oh, the woman comes out of the rib of Adam, then the woman gets pretty much told that your destiny is to help him reach his destiny. That is your destiny. So a person that believes that I am on my destiny because I'm a great wife. I'm supportive to my husband. I cook, I clean. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I am walking out my destiny. And it will be in line with those religious teachings that tells a woman that is your role. Your role is to support him. And I understand that and I get that and I'm not questioning that. But my thing is, do we have a God? And that, I think, feeds into narcissism. A God thinks so highly of the male species, because sometimes they do act like they're from a different planet. What that book said, Mars and men from Mars, women from Venus. God thinks so highly of the male species and so low of the woman species that God would not give a woman a destiny of her own. He would not give her any outside of the man. Let's say he's a doctor. He's the one that's going to cure, AIDS. He's the one that's going to come up with the groundbreaking surgery, and it's his wife at home that's just to support him so that he can do that. But she won't be the one that comes up with any type of groundbreaking thing. That to me seems like it creates narcissism in men. That's the woman's role, is to support you on doing all these great and wonderful things. And her role, she doesn't have a destiny aside from you at all. At all. And so that is what I believe is the correction of certain types of in history that we're dealing with now. You have very, 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 and it's been proven. Look at Oprah Winfrey. Look at some of these people in medicine, women in medicine that have groundbreaking, not just to get accolades, but look at the people they've helped. Look at medicines. Look at technologies that they've created that if it were not for these women, certain things would not have been done. Look at people like Harriet Tubman that got people to freedom, that if it weren't for her, people would have stayed in bondage. Look at the people that she got out of slavery, that went on to do things to help other people. So those types of things are going to be shooken up right now. Some may not want it. That patriarchal, white supremacist based Christianity, that's not real Christianity at all. It is not real. It's not real. It is not real Christianity. They're not serving Jesus. They are not. They are not. They're not serving God. They have put themselves in the place of God. Okay? And they want you to put them in the place of God. It's not real Christianity. It's white supremacy and it's patriarchy at its worst. And so we have to free ourselves from this. And we have to free ourselves from damaging, traumatizing emotions that are connected to being involved in toxic relationships, being in oppressive and abusive situations, okay? And get free and walk our destiny and walk out the life that God, the creator of heaven and earth, Pluto, Mars, the sun, the moon, that created the cycles of the moon. All that and that's devil stuff, the astrology, really? God created this time frame of the cycles of these planets and the moon. The great creator did this. And these are connected to life on planet Earth. When we can plant, when we could reap, when we can harvest, based off of these time frames and the locations of them as well. So let's be clear. And not get caught up in the stay in Aries territory all our lives, which is what other people perception, what other people think of us, what other people believe about us, without walking a step further. Some people use the tarot. I use cards, but these are not tarot, they're astrology. Tarot speaks of a person's kind of like their evolution through life. From being the fool, this is in innocence and not knowing, and graduating through different stages of life and phases and so forth and so on. But astrology, although it may not be cyclical in nature, you go here first, first house, second house, third house, you walk in, but it speaks to the evolution of the person. So you don't want to stay in first house territory your whole life. First house territory, you're worried about what other people think about you. You're worried about your image, what people think about you. You want to go on to second house territory. What do you think about yourself? But then you even want to evolve from that. You even want to evolve from that, because then you want to start dealing with community, other people's, family, relationships with a significant other, relationship with the community, relationship with the world at large. Okay? So we don't want to stay stuck in one area of our life for our whole life. We want to evolve, and we want to become better human beings. If it's not to go to heaven, if it's not to go to this other place or this other dimension or so forth and so on, it is just so that we can be better human beings, so we can grow. No one will going to stay a baby forever. That would be uncomfortable and it would be weird. So we need to evolve, I guess is the point. So I hope this is a very long daily insight. It will be a daily insight. I'm not going to turn it into a monthly, although it's the length of time is a monthly, 4 monthly. But this is an extended daily insight, incorporating the understanding of how to build your self-worth after you've been through traumatic experiences, how to escape abuse safely, okay? How to work with different people, a team, putting a team together, a safe haven, that you can keep things safe, documents and things like that, so that you can leave abusive, plan your escape in a safe way, okay? And also so that you can prevent yourself, if you are not in one of these relationships, from entering into one, because the signs are there. They are there. People will say it all the time. I didn't see this person just turned into this type of person and I didn't see it. The signs are there. You may not have known what to look for. That is the thing. You didn't know. You may not have known that people did this or people acted like, oh my God, you didn't know what those things meant. But the signs are always there if you know what to look for. If you know what to look for, the signs are always there. So look up, Google it, and I may put it in the description section or do another, during the monthly insight, talk about some of those signs. So you don't want to get involved. You don't want to. You don't want to. You don't want, if you can spot it from the beginning, you want to walk the other way. If you can. But sometimes you can't. Let's be real. We live in a real world. United States is not the only country on the face of the earth. Some people still are in arranged marriages. Some people still, are in cultures where their significant other is chosen for them. Okay? Sometimes you're in situations like that. Let's be real. So, even with but with the signs, if your family, if you can say, what, this person is, I've done that, if that's even possible. We're not even there yet, though, as a society, that even if you did go to your family, if it was an arranged marriage, and say, what, I know that my friend was in this, or I read this article, I read this book that said these are the signs of a person that will become abusive, and this person did A, B, C, and D, and I'm afraid that if I marry this person, it's going to turn into an abusive relationship. They may not listen to you, but take that chance that they will listen to you. That if you see the signs, even if you're one of those cultures or one of those things where you are, it kind of pretty much an arranged marriage, that you can go to your, whether that's a mother, your father, your family, and say, hey, I don't want to marry this person. I don't want to be, abused. But, we live in the world now where so many things, there's bride prices still in places, and there's all these things that kind of complicate things. So, but you want to take the chance, you want to your family, to make them aware of what you're picking up on before you walk down that aisle, if you can. And in most cases, a lot of times we're in situations where we can't walk away from these situations. We are walking right into abusive situations because we don't know the signs, or because of other reasons. So if you can prevent yourself from walking into an abusive relationship, take heed to the signs. Don't make excuses for it. And I'm going to tell you, if you make excuses in the beginning for things that are off, you talk yourself out into what you see that you feel is wrong. You feel like something's off. You don't understand it. You may not be able to put your finger. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Just because you don't have a name for it doesn't mean it's not happening, and it does not mean that it's wrong just because you don't have a name for it. You may not know what it is yet. But trust yourself when you don't feel like something seems off. I don't know what it is. I don't like when this person did this. It makes me feel this way. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Love yourself enough that you would walk away from a situation that, even if you don't have a name of whatever it is you're experiencing, it's making you feel uncomfortable. You don't like it. Walk away from it. Walk away from it. And you will avoid a lot of heartache, pain, possibly money, confusion, all kind of other things. So that was today's daily insight, with references to astrology. You know, some of the previous ones that were angel scopes are, you know, referenced, used angel tarot cards. You know, I may pick up or do those in the future, may not right now, more so like these are astrology cards, okay? And I'm, you know, going based off of an astrological calendar, the moon phases, as well as planetary placements, the placements of the planets as of the time that I'm doing the reading, or for a time that I'm, you know, discussing, based off of the cards that I pulled. Be blessed. Be positive. And so when I say be positive, this is not like, oh, walking around with the Pollyanna attitude. Be positive. Be a positive force in the world. It's so, nowadays it's so popular for negativity and to talk about people and be so nasty to people. That's negativity. You're putting negativity out in the world. You're putting negativity out in the world. You're going to attract back. It's going to come. The cosmos, go to my link in my bio and watch the video on Gaia that they did about the sound of creation. And it's even believed in people that believe in the Bible that God, the creator, spoke, and out of sound created the universe by the word. So be careful of what you say, because you're creating with the words. Be positive. Be positive. Be positive. And if that's not because you want to be positive, because you want to be a beneficial force in the world, know that sometimes things that we're having negative that are happening to us is because we've put negative out. We've put negative out. And it's like gravity. Gravity works for everyone. No one escapes gravity. Gravity works for everyone. You put out, you're going to get back what you put out. Put positive back so you can build up. I call it a karma bank account. You know, some of us got a deficit in our karma bank account. That's why bad stuff keep happening. Have a surplus. Even if your bank account, your real bank account, your bank account that you got at the bank somewhere is negative, at least have your karma bank account with a surplus. Because then when you need it, you can pull on it. You can pull on it. Sometimes you just, what's getting you by, some people call that the grace of God, or something. That's karma bank account. You done built up good things. You done built good things up. And now you're in a low place in your life. That's like having a savings account. You done depleted your checking account. You done spent all kinds of something that came up and took you by surprise, but you have a savings account so you can rely on it. That's like a karma account. Put positive in. So when you need it, when times get to you, when times get rough, when something comes your way, you able to pull from that karma, that surplus, and you be able to use it. Put positive out. Be positive. Be blessed. And I'm going to end it with that.